Hey everyone, Dr. Frunkey here with a final diagnosis and review on the Southern Grind Spider Monkey. Now this is the all copper Going Gear exclusive edition, and I brought out a couple of my other copper items in my collection. This Olight S1 baton in copper that I got from Going Gear, and I got this Olight R50 Seeker CU. This is an amazing 2500 lumen light. I had the unboxing here on this channel. Wanted to bring it out again and show the patina that's developed on this guy over time. Absolutely gorgeous pieces. I really like copper for that patina. It ages with time and it's unique to that individual sort of chemistry and everything, and I really enjoy that. I really enjoy pairing this knife with the copper Olight. Just brought a penny out here just for a little copper overload for everyone. But this knife has been great. This is a Going Gear exclusive. You know how Marshall over there loves his copper items. And I have really enjoyed it. I did the unboxing a few weeks ago. You can go back and watch that video to see what this thing looked like coming out of the package. I have carried this a good amount, at least a couple of times a week. I have worn it in a lot of different conditions, rain, cold, hot. I've worn it while I sweat a lot at work and, just left it on my person to see what would happen to the copper. And it's been really interesting. You can see how it's aged and patinaed with just a few weeks. I'm excited to see what will happen after a few months. The S1 over here has been here with me for a year at least. The Seeker's been here for a few months. So it's great to see how this ages with time. Briefly, the Southern Grind Company is a company that is owned and operated by Mr. Zach Brown of the Zach Brown Band. He was a musician first and decided he liked knives and he started making them. They make some fixed blades. They make a folder called the Bad Monkey, which is a bigger blade, and then this is the Spider Monkey. This is the 3.25 inch blade version. The other one is about 4 inches. This is a little bit more EDC friendly, and it has done really well. The original model comes with a really nice 3D textured carbon fiber scale, and it does make it considerably lighter. These copper scales do add a considerable amount of weight. Let's go ahead and talk about the knife anatomically so we can understand it a little bit better. Up front here, let me see if I can get that in focus. We've got a 3.25 inch blade of CPM S35 VN steel, which is a great steel. No one can complain about that. It's got a really nice sort of mirrored stonewash, very similar, I feel, to the Chris Reeve finish. If you're familiar with what Sebenzas look like and feel like, it's very smooth just like that. Very nicely finished. In fact, it's a very similar drop point style blade with a very high flat grind. Reminds me a little bit of a Sebenza in terms of the blade, and that's a good thing, honestly. They say flattery is a compliment, right? Or is that the saying? Something like that. In any case, that comparison is going to come up a couple of times in this video. But S35 VN, great steel. I will say that the edge on this knife is probably the sharpest that I've ever experienced from the factory. So, this may start becoming a norm on here, I don't know, but I've got some magazine paper here. This is totally the factory edge here, and it's just ridiculously sharp. I'm not even trying to cut this. Very nice edge from the factory. Very impressed by that. It has held that edge very nicely as well. Let me get this cleaned off a little bit. And I've enjoyed that S35V, and I know that if the edge ever comes off, I can give it a quick strop or a quick on some fine stones, run it on some fine stones and get that edge right back. The deployment method is via thumb stud only over here. It is ambidextrous in terms of where the thumb studs are placed, but it is a frame lock that suits right-handers only. To add to that, there's only a one-position pocket clip for righties only. So lefties, I'm sorry. But that does give you a couple of opening options. So you can give it the old style open like that. It does enjoy being flicked open when you do that. If you're really good, take your finger back here, give it a spidey flick, and bam, it's open. I really enjoy that. It is a very smooth knife. It definitely took some time to break in, and I did drop a couple of drops of nano oil in there and then kind of blow it out with some compressed air, and it did smoothen it out just a little bit, but I just think that it needed some time to wear in. I did not have any lock stick on the blade. This is a titanium frame lock, and titanium on steel can sometimes cause lock stick. My good buddy Nick Shabazz said he had a horrid experience with one of the earlier Southern Grind Spider Monkeys because of some lock stick. I have never, ever, ever felt it on this knife, not even once. And the lockup is solid. Very, very solid. Absolutely no blade play. Even with the lock release, there's no blade play at all. It is a liner lock. It runs on phosphor bronze washers. You can see those here. And those actually look pretty nice with these copper scales. It kind of actually adds a little bit to that. So really, really nice there. And it's very smooth. Again, drawing a comparison to a Sebenza, nice big bronze washers in there. Old school, built for toughness, not just for flash. And back to the handles. So before we talk about the copper material, let's just talk about the handles themselves physically. They are really, really nicely milled. This is contoured in every single direction. It's rounded off here. It's nice and flat up top, but the actual milling has in it some interesting sort of grains. I'm going to see if I can get that to focus. You can see it when I bring this right up next to the camera. There's some graininess to that, and it almost feels like wood, and it's really, really nice and amazing. And then these beautiful, beautiful lines and the milling that you get on this carried over to the other side as well. It's really, really nice looking. I enjoy that a lot. A really nice thing about the way that this is milled is that it makes it an absolute joy to take it out of the pocket. You just get that grip with your thumb on this side, and you're gripping the clip over here or up here even. Just makes it so nice and easy to take it out of the pocket. I enjoy that a lot. The handle is cut out here so that you can flick it open really easily. That is again on both sides. If you like to spidey flick, that works as well. It's nicely shaped and contoured. It fits in the hand very nicely. There's really only one gripping position on this knife. This is not really an ideal situation when you're choking up on this. It's not ideally ergonomic for that. But in this position with your thumb on the thumb ramp, all of your fingers on it, I have a large hand and I'm getting traction with all 4 fingers. You can really get some power behind those cuts. It's easy in this grip, and you can get your finger out pretty easily over it, just like that if you need to. Really enjoy the ergonomics of the handle. Fits really well, even in my larger hand. Smaller hands will also do well with this knife. It's an open pillar construction. Like I mentioned earlier, it's titanium frames. They're relatively unfinished. It's sort of just naked titanium. I think that's an area where they could improve. It would be cool to see a little bit of a finish on there, like a bronzing or some kind of anodization. That would be cool. But it does function really well. It's not really extensively milled out. I think those are actually just pilot milling holes in there that they need to actually produce the scale. It's not true milling that's going on. It's an open pillar construction with some nice standoffs. It does have a fairly functional pocket clip, similar to a Benchmade style or Emerson style clip with the 3 holes up there. It's a very strong stainless steel clip, and I actually really like it. It fits well over almost any type of pant or pocket because it comes well up off the frame. This is a bit of a hot spot sometimes. It's a very sharp angle and a very hard piece of steel there. That lip is kind of large. When you're gripping it with your hand, you can feel it on the other side in sort of the meat of your hand, but it's not bad. But I can feel it sometimes when I'm kind of messing around with the knife. It's not perfect, but it is very functional and works well. It's a little bit shorter than I might like. I like a little bit more purchase on the knife to kind of keep it more stable when it's in the pocket, but it does work pretty well. It's not a huge hit there. I have not tried to put a custom clip on it. I wonder if anyone out there has a Spider Monkey and they've tried a sort of a custom Benchmade clip on there. Just let me know what your experience with that has been. I would definitely be interested to know more about that. In terms of EDC, it's a nice little knife. 3.25 inches is a great size. I think 3 inches or below is starting to get a little bit too small, and certainly over 4 inches is a bit too big. So this hits right in a sweet spot of blade length to overall size ratio. What we're looking at here is a 7.4 inch overall length with 4.1 inches of handle and about 3.5 inches of blade over there. So really a nice size. This model, in coming in with the copper scales, is going to come in a bit heavier. Let's see if I can get this to show up on the camera here. You can see it on that angle. It's a bit heavy. That's 5.38 ounces. No, let's see if I can get it really on there. 5.38 ounces. You know, that's not too terribly far off of some of my heavier knives. Can look at a Curtis F3. It's going to come in at 5.34, so this Curtis F3 is even lighter. Let's bring out a heavier guy here in the 0392. That's 5.9, so not that much bigger, and that's a much larger, sort of beefier knife. Let's bring out the Benchmade Contago, a full 4 inches, and that comes in at 5.7. So coming in here at 5.38 ounces for this small of a knife is a bit heavy, and some people might have an issue with that. However, as you can tell from the other knives I've brought out here on the table, I am quite a fan of the slightly heavier knives. I feel like it gives you a sense of quality, a sense of strength, and I do really enjoy having that feeling in my knives. You can tell when something is well made, kind of when it has that weight to it. That's sort of my reasoning there. In terms of my carry, I find that it works best in EDC type tasks. Paper cutting, package opening, letter opening, plastic cutting, sort of picking things out with its very fine tip. It does that very well. This is not a good pry tool. You shouldn't be doing that with this. You shouldn't be jamming the tip into anything, but you can use it for finer cutting tasks. I find that the action is very addictive. You know, a lot of times we use these things almost like hand toys sometimes, and you can get enjoyment out of opening and closing this thing all day. Now, it doesn't really drop shut. The blade is fairly light, and there is a little bit of tension still on that pivot. I tried tightening and loosening it up a little bit. The centering remains perfect from that, but it's about as light as it will go without coming off center, and the action is amazing. But the close is a little bit hydraulic, so it's not that it's not smooth, it just is not a free dropper. It's a very hydraulic feeling. It's not bad. Again, another comparison to a Sebenza. Sebenzas aren't always, especially the 25s and the newer ones, are not exactly free droppers always. So we've got a great little knife here of S35 VN steel, a very cool and functional handle with nice, interesting copper scales. What is my final diagnosis on this knife? My final diagnosis is new gen Sebenza. I really do think that. I think that Chris Reeve and his knives have kind of stagnated over the last, I don't know, 10 years. While I respect their place in the marketplace, I feel that the knife community has sort of evolved, and we've been waiting for them to sort of catch up. What I see this as, this is almost a new small Sebenza to me. I would never call this a Sebenza killer. There's no such thing as a Sebenza killer. That knife is legendary and timeless, but I will say that this is a new generation of thinking about that. Taking all the things that work well in terms of the washers, the steel, the overall sort of hard use, sort of everyday carry, sort of tactical appearance and uses, it all carries through in this knife, but this brings with it some modern manufacturing, some nice mill work, some nice new materials, and all of the old materials that still work really well. So this is definitely a keeper for me. I enjoy this knife. This one is really unique to me. I purchased it for $275 from goinggear.com. As of me making this video today, sometime around January 21st of 17. There are 4 more of these in this form available on Going Gear. They have a black bladed version they still have a few of, but then all they have left are the regular carbon fiber ones. So if you want one of these, now's the time to go grab it. There are only about 4 more of these guys. I don't know that they're going to be making more. They seem to say that this was a sprint run in very limited quantities. I really, really, really like this knife, guys. It's very sharp. It's very nicely made. It's very smooth. It feels amazing in the hand. I wish you could feel this nice copper scale on here. And it's totally worth it. The regular model is a little bit cheaper, and I'm really impressed by the quality here. I look forward to seeing what they come up with next and sort of what their newer models will look like. I will get this guy out into videos in the future so that you can see sort of how this patina continues to progress. Check me out on Instagram at Dr. Frunkey and see some pictures on there of this guy and see how it changes. You know, I just wanted to give a big thank you to some of the guys that I've been talking to in the knife community: Kevin Cleary, Treddy's Knife Reviews, and Nick Shabazz. You know, you guys we're having a whole lot of fun talking about new knives and everything, and you know, some of their opinions kind of formed how I picked this knife up, and it's just a whole lot of fun. This community is really great. Let me know what you think of this knife down below. Let me know what you think of Southern Grind as a company. I guess I'll throw in here at the last minute that Southern Grind is a knife company that actually gives a lot of profit to charity. There's a Camp Southern Grind over in the state of Georgia that helps underprivileged kids and teaches them leadership skills and other things like that. So a bit of the proceeds will always go to something like that. So you can rest assured that your money is well spent on these guys. So finishing up, guys, thank you so much for watching. This is Dr. Frunkey saying take care.